Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Triple N Media. I am NIK NIKAM, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and we are going to be testing the Rnav approach to landing. We're going to take off from Sugar Land Airport, runway 17. Our destination is Houston Hobby Airport, KHOU. And this is the flight path. As we can see, we have a Rnav selected here. The distance is approximately 20 nautical miles, and these are the regions where we are going to be tracking. Before we go into any further details, I would suggest you go to airnav.com or org and pull up a Rnav for your regional airport of destination, depending on depending upon which runway you select. You can print this template. It gives you all the details about all the different things that we need to be focusing on. And as we can see, this G1000 is the first location, which is coming south this way. Then we have cargo as the next turning point. We fly at an altitude of 4,000 feet, then climb down to 2,000 feet, and our approach angle is going to be 41 degrees. It is very important to realize the altitude at the runway, and this has to be added on to the final path here so that you don't run short of the runway before it touches down. And I will show that as we proceed. We go from Cargo to Eldron, 2,000, no less than 2,000 feet. Then SA, no less than 1,500 feet. Then we come down here. From here, we have the approach for landing on runway 4 using GPS or nav. Houston approach frequencies. Here's the Hobby Tower, and this is for the weather information. Okay, there we have. So let's get it's a little bit dark, and we'll change the atmosphere. Let's come down here and change this weather condition to, let's bring this one to the side, and you can see the map which we were talking about just a minute ago. This Geo, Cargo, Eldron, and KHOU. Weather should be turned on. Okay, there's our weather. So let's change the weather to like 10 a.m. That's pretty good. Got a nice good. I got to make sure I can hear the engine sound. Okay, before we go any further, we want to make sure this is set to 172. Because that's where it is headed, or 177 actually. The flight plan says 177. We set this one to 177. All right, and once we take off, we're going to use the autopilot to reach an altitude of 4,000, which should be adequate, and this is where it's going to track the different things. If I look at on this monitor, we can look at the flight plan, which says so we start off at Sugar Land. Our destination is Hobby Airport, and here to Greco is 177 degrees, and our runway is 44. So we're going to keep this in mind, and the rest of it is going to be automatically adjusted. And we're going to be using the GPS mode, because there are, if you look at the other ones, you can get the Vivo R, but we're not using that one. Vivo R2 we're not using, so we are going to be using GPS. When we are ready, we can just press the heading button. If you can put the heading button right now, so it will take us straight to where we want to go. Let us make sure we have our fuel is rich. Okay, that's good. And we are ready to. All right, let's get the show on the road here. A lot of times the throttle is maybe in a full position. We need to pull it back so that we start from the beginning, the minus. I'm using the Logitech Extreme 3D joystick. Okay, I'm going to increase the throttle here to max and press key 11 to go, and we're just going to follow slide to turn here. When we get to be 70-80 miles, we're going to take off 70 miles there. This rudder control is extremely fickly, so that's pretty good. Let's take off here, and just a little bit. You see, that's more than enough. That's 15, maybe too much. And if you look from outside here, we're doing okay. So just take off here. The flaps are fine. Adjust it. So once we need to set the autopilot on soon. So let's get inside here, and while I'm doing that, let us go to autopilot. We need the altitude to be 3800 is fine. Vertical is 500, so that's good. And if you come over here, it is automatically correcting itself to the direction. And also I need to press the heading button on GPS. It's following the GPS. As you can see, it is trying to make a correction here to follow the path. And we already have the heading. It's following the GPS, which is what we want it to do. Autopilot is on. Our velocity is 500 feet per minute. So we're going to be flying to an altitude of, we can go up to 4,000, and from here we'll come here to Carco and then follow the instructions. And when we come to Carco, remember from Carco we should be at 4,000 feet. When we come to Eldrin, we should be above 2,000 feet. Let's see how it goes. And we are approaching 4,000 feet. Maybe we are not getting as quickly as we want. If that is the case, we can go up on vertical speed to speed up the process. There we're going up to 700 feet per minute. We can come over here, and we should be approaching the altitude that we are looking for. We have a speed of 109.10 nautical miles, which is fine. If the speed picks up too much, we can pull the throttle back so that we can maintain the speed, so it's not going like 130 or 140 miles. So we are approaching our first turning point, and this should automatically make a turn, since as you can see our next point is 9.6 nautical miles. I'm hoping it will make a turn by itself. Let's see how well it's going to do. So it's got quite a few distance. Actually, depending upon the magnification, you will see this plane being like overshooting sometimes, but in reality the plane size may be much bigger than the distance when it is kind of reduced in size. So we are doing okay, and as long as it makes a turn, then we know that in fact it is going to follow the course as it is supposed to, and this should start to move as it makes a turn. So let's see if this will move. Then we'll have a pretty good idea as if you are going in the right direction. Okay, and this changed the direction, and now it is beginning to move. 172, 76, now it's going to 145. So it is following the GPS path as outlined in the flight plan. Okay, so we are doing good. We are approaching almost 4,000 feet. We are coming along pretty good, and when we get to Carco, as you can see, we need to start descending to 2,000 feet, and the GPS is supposed to automatically take care of that, and let's see if it does. Otherwise we'll have to set it to, we have to go inside, we have to come inside and set this to 2,000 feet and bring the the vertical speed down to match that. As I said, the speed is picking up, so I can pull back a little bit on the throttle. Here you can see, to keep it like 110. That's good, and you can hear the sound coming down here. 2280. 22 is pretty good. 110, that's fine. So we just keep it at like 2300, which is fine. Let's look at here. Yeah, just about 3 nautical miles to our next point. From there we are going to be 92 degrees, and if we look at inside, our next will be 44 all the way to the runway, just straight 44 degrees. It can vary from 40 to 44 degrees depending upon the wind and other factors. We'll just keep a close watch, and when we are very close to the runway, you just take the autopilot off and then do some minor adjustments. And as I said, the ground altitude, which is like 44 feet, like here we have this 44 feet, has to be taken into account. So when we are approaching the runway, we may have to pull the nose up so that we land on the actual asphalt. Here it's making a turn now, and you can see the turn here, and the next limb is 7 nautical miles. It says 44 degrees, which is fine. I think we should be all right. We can make a very fine adjustment as we get closer to the runway. The speed is 118, which is fine. We can maintain it, and we can also bring it down to 110 if you want. Okay, let's inside the cockpit and see what's happening. We are approaching, we got 2.27 nautical miles to our next destination. The angle is 41 degrees. This is set to 41 degrees. We're right on track actually here, and the speed is 120, which is right, 31, and we got 2 miles and another 1,000 feet to go. So 2 minutes, 2 miles and 1,000 feet to go to reach 2,000 feet. So the next leg is Corco to Eldon, which will be a short distance of 1 nautical mile. Left, just less than 1 left. Then the next will be from Eldon to HU, and see where we are. Okay, so here we can already see the runway, which is 7.3 nautical miles, and we are actually in line with the runway from what we can see, as this is a straight path all the way to the runway. Main thing we have to pay attention are the speed, throttle, and the height as we get close to the runway, to compensate for the altitude of the runway, which is 44 feet from the sea level. Of course, the Gulf of Mexico is right on this side. Okay, so we are making progress. We are getting close to HU, and we are like 2,200 feet, and hopefully it will take part from here as far as the altitude is concerned, so that we can see both runway, and it's 21, and the next part is 1,500 feet by the time we get to SA. I think this should automatically bring it down. Let's see if it does. Otherwise we need to bring it down to 1,500 feet. We need to bring it down to 1,500 feet vertical speed. 300. So it will bring it down to 1500 feet. Let's see what we are doing here. Control A. So I think we are 3 nautical miles. Let's go to, and we can see, so it's tracking pretty nicely. It is coming down. We need to reduce the speed to like 80 nautical miles. Put flaps down 1, perhaps 2 miles. We are flaps down. Reduce the speed some more to 80 miles. Less than 80 miles now. Maybe we're overshooting the runway here. It says 1 mile, so we are still 1500 feet. So we have to bring the flaps down. 76 is fine. Flaps 2. Need to give it a throttle to keep it close to 70. I think we got half a mile left. The altitude is not changing. Vertical is how? It is I think it overshot the runway for some reason. Well, at least I think we overshot the runway. This is my first attempt. I think I'll have to figure out how we overshot the runway. I think I'm going to stop it here for right now and come back next time and see how. If you look at the map here, you are 1500 feet. By the time we get here, it should be down to minimums, and I think I thought it was automatically going to do it. It did not do it. So anyways, we made a successful stuff here. Bring it down, and I can bring it down some more, but the altitude, I don't know that I had to manually change it, or maybe I did something not right. So I'm going to stop here. So hopefully in the next I'm going to learn some more and see if we can get it done properly. Thank you so much, and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Triple N Media. I am NIK NIKAM, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and we are going to be testing the Rnav approach to landing. We're going to take off from Sugar Land Airport, runway 17. Our destination is Houston Hobby Airport, KHOU, and this is the flight path. As we can see, we have a Rnav selected here. The distance is approximately 20 nautical miles, and these are the regions where we are going to be tracking. Before we go into any further details, I would suggest you go to airnav.com or org and pull up a Rnav for your regional airport of destination. Depending on depending upon which runway you select, you can print this template. It gives you all the details about all the different things that we need to be focusing on. And as we can see, this GEEO is the first location, which is coming south this way. Then we have cargo as the next turning point. We fly at an altitude of 4,000 feet, then climb down to 2,000 feet, and our approach angle is going to be 41 degrees. It is very important to realize the altitude at the runway, and this has to be added on to the final path here, so that you don't run short of the runway before it touches down, and I will show that as we proceed. We go from Corco to Eldron, 2,000, no less than 2,000 feet, then SA, no less than 1,500 feet. Then we come down here. From here we have the approach for landing on runway 4 using GPS or NAV. Houston approach frequencies. Here's the Hobby Tower, and this is for the weather information.